You know, the World Cup, I've been cynical about it. And I've been told just enjoy it. This is a tournament for the fans. This is for fun. The NHL does nothing for the fans. The NHL does things for money. The World Cup, in all of its wonder and glory, is about money. Now, I was sort of ready to say, okay, you guys are right. I should just sit back and enjoy the tournament. But the ads on the jerseys, there's an article actually on Yahoo Sports where it's admitted by, I believe it's Bill Daly. Excuse me, let me go back and find this. The NHL and NHLPA announced ventures Wednesday as well as plans for fan initiatives through Toronto through the end of the month. So ads on jerseys, puck and player tracking, and interactive boards. Interactive boards. That'll be interesting. This tournament gives us an opportunity to experiment with things, to see if they work, to see if they can be done in a fashion which is tasteful, said NHLPA Director Don Fair. Puck and player tracking technology will include elements like puck speed, player speed, and distance traveled, all aimed at boosting the viewer experience on game broadcasts. Oh boy, gosh, that's what's been missing from hockey. More shit on the screen. Now, I don't mind them telling me how fast the puck traveled. I don't even mind them telling me when it got hit, from what angle. But here's the thing. This has the stink of the 90s on it. The 90s was all about the glowing puck and making the game exciting for fans in the U.S. Like all those ugly jerseys from the mid-90s. What do you think those were about? Those were about selling the game to the casual fan, the non-fan. Those traditional jerseys are boring. We need to spruce them up, get some new colors on them. There's hypercolor on the market. There's these t-shirts that when you move, they show where your sweat is. I think we should have jerseys like that. It was talked about at one point. See, when the NHL gets into trying to sell the game south of the border, it alienates fans north of the border. It happens every time. And this tournament is a testing ground. This isn't about, oh, who's the greatest country in the world at hockey. That's how it's being sold in commercials, and that's the bullshit we're being sold as fans. This is about money. Like even down here, SAP was announced as the sponsor, advertising on game-worn sweaters. Though Bettman said it was not a sign of things to come in the NHL, the NBA recently announced that it would begin selling advertising on its jerseys starting in the 2017-18 season. And see, the one thing that was said back when Adidas got this deal was the NHL is waiting for somebody else to do it first. And it's said in this article too. Now it's been done. Now the NHL can say, they started it. Which is a ridiculous excuse. Yeah, the thing I don't understand either is Bettman himself is quoted, it's not in this article, it's in another article, as having spoken to presidents of NHL franchises and told them, hey, we can sell advertising on jerseys and it could bring in an additional $4 million a year for your team. And then Bettman was said at this, whatever it is, nobody should say this means the next step is to put them on NHL jerseys. I'm a believer in the history, tradition, and exactly how special NHL sweaters are. Well, they're jerseys, Mr. Bettman. Sweaters are the old ones they wore in the 50s and 60s. And while these World Cup jerseys have been designed from scratch and are spectacular, it's not necessarily the same as the NHL sweaters. The only thing missing from that sentence is the word yet. Once Adidas is making new jerseys, I honestly think we're going to be back to weird, funky colored jerseys, and just every team is going to redesign. When Reebok got the deal, all of them got vertical striping. See this? See this vertical stripe? See that? Isn't that sexy? No? Well, Reebok thought it was. They thought the thing to sell old jerseys was to give them all a stripe on the side, each side. Most teams had these stripes coming out of the lockout from Reebok. Then they realized they were stupid and they were eliminated within a few years after that. The Oilers jersey I have on the way does not have the vertical striping. It is a blue one with the right colors, and it's got the same stripes all the way around and all the way around the bottom. This jersey has no stripes on the bottom because it is a Reebok Edge jersey. And it was, it was an attempt by them, and then they had to go back to tradition. And I'm guessing the same thing will happen with Adidas. Make no mistake, this tournament, the puck tracking, the weird... When I hear puck tracking, all I think of is Fox's glowing puck. And it was the worst thing in the history of hockey because I don't have to have somebody tell me where the puck is. And now that golf has a tracker on a golf ball in the sky, which looks stupid, makes it look like you're playing a video game, not watching golf, it's only a matter of time before the NHL says, that glowing puck didn't work in the 90s. It'll work now, though, because the video game, millennials are going to love that shit. They won't. It's stupid. You don't see it, you don't see it in baseball. You see little, animations in baseball. But that's just because baseball's boring as shit to watch. Baseball's 4.5 hours of guys scratching their nuts and waiting to swing a piece of wood at a ball. Like, it's not some beautiful game, as people call it. Hockey is hard-hitting, physical, fast. A game takes 2.5 hours, maybe 3. None of this 4.5 hour shit you see with baseball. I get sick of watching TV, and then I'll get an alert that Tim and Sid's coming on, or, whatever's coming on Sportsnet, and I go to turn it on, and it's like, it's baseball, and it's in the 6th inning. It started 3 hours ago. How's it in the 6th inning? So yeah, you have to add trackers and fucking ninjas to baseball games to make them interesting. Hockey doesn't need any of that shit. It's like the robots they had for Fox, the Fox robots, which are now still in football, because football, much like baseball, if you take all the bells and whistles out of it, football's kind of boring to watch. The bells and whistles and the fantasy football especially are what make it interesting and fun to watch. A lot of people watch football just for the fantasy football. They don't stand up and cheer because some guy gained 70 yards. They cheer because the guy gained 70 yards and he's in their pool. So they know they got a good shot at winning that week. Hockey's downfall has always been trying to catch up to the NBA, baseball, and football, and acting like there's still 4 major teams or 4 major franchises or leagues. There's 3 major leagues. The NHL's way behind in terms of its revenues, its exposure south of the border, and honestly, bells and whistles aren't going to do it. Baseball, at its most popular, it was during the steroid era. It was all those home runs. They cracked down on steroids, and they went through their lockouts, and it's taken them 15 years to get back to where they were around the steroid era, and baseball's finally got back up. So you got to watch these quick fixes, and they do backfire. That's why all these ugly jerseys, and people are like, oh, what the hell? Who designed that? Well, it was designed by somebody who was told to come up with something edgy and new and different. Basically, every team in the 90s thought that adding Poochie to the lineup was going to help. And thankfully, it didn't work, and Poochie died on his way to his home planet. The Hockey World Cup this year, the tournament's going to be great. The guys running it, Poochie. And I'm not saying they need to die on their way home to their home planet, but it's the start of the end. The ads on the jerseys are coming. Bettman's probably just pissed that it leaked out that he told the owners it was coming. And now he's backtracking on it. Because there will be public backlash, of course. This isn't English football. It's not European sports. I look at European jerseys and they're terrible. And they're not terrible because the logos and the colors are bad. Some of them, that's the case. It's the ads. The ads kill them. And it starts with one shoulder patch. One ad on the front. If this jersey had a Coke patch right here, I'm not buying it. And that's the thing. We as fans would have to stand together and say, we're not buying your shit. Apparently with the NBA jerseys, if you buy them through Sport Check or wherever, you're not going to get an ad on it. But if you buy it through the team store, you could. They have the right to put the ad on their jersey on their website and in their building. Eventually, it'll be on the ones in the stores. The part that offends me is simple. Major League professional sports owners are not going out of business. They're not losing money. The boards were fine. Ads on the ice, full sketchy, okay. But now you need them on the jerseys too? Because you need more money. Why? Believe me, if owners thought they could get away with it, they'd do away with the logos and just have giant... This space for a logo is worth big money. So if you can take this Oilers logo and throw it on the shoulder and put a big GM logo here, you can make, what, 15, 20 million that year. It's all about the money for them. And now that the NHLPA and the NHL itself are in an alliance sort of thing, uneasy alliance, but they have an uneasy alliance with one another, and it's all about growing revenues, players will bitch. But at the end of the day, one of the NHLPA reps will say, hey, shut up. If we get these on the jerseys, you stand to make an extra $500,000 next year. The guy gets interviewed the next day, he goes, you know what? Maybe the ads aren't so bad. There are some players who would say take that $500,000 and stick it. But not all of them are going to. Come on. To me, it's pure greed. It's pure corporate greed. And it's unnecessary. That's why I did that video months ago, before this was even a thing, saying I don't want ads on jerseys. And I showed all my jerseys off. Don't want ads on these. I've added at least 20 jerseys since then, but I digress. Part of the reason I'm adding so many jerseys is because I know it's coming. I know the ads are coming. And it's up to us to vote with our wallets. So what do? When the ads are on the NHL jerseys, it's going to happen. Do you just stop buying NHL jerseys altogether? Because I guarantee, if sales in their shops and sales of NHL merchandise drop by, say, 50%, those ads are gone. Because the ad price, the amount of money they make on those ads, won't cover how much money they've lost on merchandise sales. They're going to get rid of the ads. That's the only answer. Unfortunately, I really don't see fans doing it. I really don't. I remember after the last lockout, fans were like, we're just not going back. Nope. They've done it for the last time. We're not going back this time. The owners and the players are too greedy. We're not going back. And there was record attendance coming out of that lockout. So I really, if something like that doesn't galvanize fans, here's the ad thing. But I got to admit, I've been buying vintage jerseys. I've been buying used jerseys on eBay. I've been buying cheap jerseys from all over the place. If ads are on jerseys, that'll be exclusively the only thing I buy. If you hear yelling in the background, that's my son and his friend playing video games down the hall. I'm not currently torturing teenagers in my home. So, I have my little side gigs. This isn't the only thing I do, but right now I'm not doing that. So, thanks for watching. I am going to do a video today on why Canada doesn't win Stanley Cups. And there are reasons. And I appreciate any and all opinions regarding this. But anytime Gary Bettman says don't worry, I worry. I worry greatly. Because Bettman is the spokesman for the owners, but he's not the owners. And the owners want extra revenues because they're greedy assholes. The reason that the players always have to give in to the owners is because the players are greedy millionaires, the owners are greedy billionaires. And unlike Donald Trump, many of them actually are billionaires. Thanks for watching.